everyone, and a very good evening, good afternoon, good morning from whichever part of the world you'll be listening to this session for today. And I am Dharshani, your image consultant, coach, transformation strategist, and even your TEDx speaker. And today I'm diving into a topic that's incredibly close to my heart, which is women leading with purpose, the role of emotional intelligence in sustainability. You see, today the world talks a lot about sustainable development, about going green, reducing waste, and protecting the planet. But there's another kind of sustainability that we rarely talk about, which is your emotional sustainability. Because how we build a sustainable world if the people leading it are emotionally exhausted, disconnected, or uninspired, isn't it? And that's where women come in. Women who lead with purpose, empathy, and emotional intelligence. Stay with me for next some time because we're going to explore why emotional intelligence is a secret weapon of women leaders, how emotionally intelligent women are driving sustainable across industries, and how you can strengthen your emotional intelligence to lead with purpose in your own life and work. Disclaimer, it's not for women, but anyone, whoever is listening to this video later, or whoever has joined us live, it's for everyone. So let me start with a big question. Why does this conversation matter now? We are living in a time of incredible complexity. Climate anxiety is real, burnout is real, and people are craving leadership that feels human again. When I say sustainability, I don't just mean environmental sustainability. I mean emotional, social, and moral sustainability. Because sustainability is not just about protecting forests, it's about the protecting the spirit of humanity that runs those forests, companies, and even classrooms. And who better to lead this movement than women who bring empathy, intuition, and collaboration into every space they touch. But emotional intelligence isn't just a feminine trait, it's a human advantage. It allows us to make ethical, human centered, and lasting decisions. So let's redefine leadership, not as power over, but as power within, not as competition, but as connection. Now, let's break down what exactly is emotional intelligence. Psychologist Daniel Goleman describes emotional intelligence or EI as the ability to recognize, understand, and manage your own emotions, and to recognize, understand, and influence the emotions of others. It includes five components, which is your self awareness, self regulation, motivation, empathy, and social skills. Now, think about this. How many times have you seen a technically brilliant leader fail because they couldn't connect with people? And how many times have you seen someone with empathy, patience, and presence hold a team together during chaos? That's emotional intelligence at work. When a woman leader pauses before reacting, when she listens to understand, not to reply, she's not just managing emotions, she's sustaining her energy. And that's the first step to real sustainability, which is creating emotional balance before external balance. Now let's talk about women and sustainability and why do women align so naturally with it? Because at its core, both are about nurture, balance, and continuity. Majorly we all think long term, or women think long term. We see connections between people, purpose, and planet. We care not just about progress, but also about preservation. A research by Deloitte and UN Women shows that organizations led by emotionally intelligent women report higher engagement, lower turnover, and stronger commitment to social responsibility. Women leaders bring care into decision making, and they ask questions like, who will this impact? How will this feel? Is it fair? Those aren't just emotional questions, they are ethical ones. And ethics are the foundation of sustainability. When a woman leads with empathy and clarity, she becomes not just a manager of people, but a guardian of purpose. Now, let's go deeper into what I call the triple impact of emotionally intelligent women leaders. When women lead with emotional intelligence, they impact three core layers. First is people, purpose, and planet. Now let's unpack this. When we talk about people, women leaders build emotionally sustainable teams. They create spaces of trust, inclusion, and psychological safety. They understand that when people feel valued, they perform better, innovate more, and stay longer. Second is your purpose. They lead with why. How many of us lead with why here? They connect daily. They connect daily work with larger meaning, and that creates commitment, not compliance. Purpose-driven leadership turns a job into a journey. And finally, your planet. They make mindful decisions, choosing long-term responsibility over short-term results. They care about their community and impact, and not just competition. Let me share a small story here. One of my clients, a young female founder, noticed that her team was burning out. Instead of pushing harder, she introduced what she called the Mindful Mondays, just 10 minutes of silent reflection before the work began. Within 2 months, stress level dropped, communication improved, and creativity skyrocketed. What can you observe? That's emotional intelligence in action, which has sustainable energy but not forced productivity. Now, I want to share something I developed through years of coaching women leaders, which is called the equal model. It's a 5 step inner sustainability framework for emotionally intelligent leadership. Let me walk through it. E stands for empathy. Empathy is the ability to feel with, not just for. It's about listening without judgment, understanding before responding, and that's what connects people, or that's where empathy connects people beyond positions, and that builds unity. Q stands for quality of awareness. We need to be aware about what drives you, your emotions, your energy, your habits. Awareness helps you lead consciously but not reactively. I think today, many a times you are all, not many a times. Today, if you look back, it all are on autopilot mode. But today, I urge everyone to be aware of what drives you. And that brings us to the next letter of the, the concept is you. unity of values. When you align yourself with your personal values, with your organization mission, when your internal compass matches your external work, you lead with authenticity. A stands for your authentic action. Take actions that reflect integrity but not imitation. Because authentic leaders don't perform leadership, they embody it. And last but not the least, L stands for legacy thinking. Ask yourself, what will remain when I leave this role, this company, this planet? Emotionally intelligent women think beyond quarters, they think in generations. This is how women create sustainable change, not by demanding power, but by defining it differently. Let's take some real world example, or let's celebrate a few women who modeled emotionally intelligent, purpose driven leadership. Dr. Vandana Shiva, she champions biodiversity and women's rights, showing us that sustainability is both ecological and social. Indra Nooyi, the former CEO of PepsiCo, she introduced performance with purpose, embedding sustainability into business strategy long before it was fashionable. Christina Figures, the architect of the Paris Climate Agreement, who led with optimism and emotional resilience, but not fear. What is common in all these three personalities which we spoke? These women didn't just lead, they lifted. They showed us that empathy is not weakness, it's a weapon for change. Right? So before I, go more further into a little more of the topic which I have to be discussed, before that I have a question or a quick reflection which I wanted to take up here is, we are all working different fields. We all work in different verticals of work. Either you are an engineer, either you're an entrepreneur or you're a business owner. We have different hats which we wear. But have you really thought what drives you with all these things? Or is it your purpose? Is it your why? What drives you? If I can have some answers, whoever is watching this live, anyone would like to give your input or something for this? What drives you? Or you know, what drives you for which you have started something? I just want everyone to think over this. Now, I would like to pause this for a moment and I want you to ask yourself these three questions. If you have a notebook, or you can grab one and maybe write this down along with me. First question is, what emotion drives most of your decision? Is it fear? Is it love? Or is it purpose? Or it can be anything else also. I want you to think over this and just become aware about what is your thought for this. Let me repeat the question. What emotion drives your decision? Is it fear, love, or purpose? Or it can be any other emotion also. Second is, where in your life do you feel misaligned between what you value and what you practice? Let me repeat that question for you once again. Where in your life do you feel misaligned between what you value and what you practice? Third, but not the least, what legacy do you want to leave at work, at home, or in your community? What legacy do you want to leave at work, at home, or in your community? Whoever is watching this video later, I want you to pause it right here and grab a notebook or a notepad and just start, answering or just ponder over these three questions, because these questions brings us closer to emotional sustainability. Because when your energies, when your values and your vision aligns, your leadership becomes unstoppable in spite of whoever you are. Now, let's shift from the individual to the collective, and how can organization create emotionally sustainable cultures. And let's look at into certain few ways how you can do that. Encourage an emotionally safe dialogue. As leaders, we should create those kinds of spaces where people can express anything without fear. Second is integrating empathy with performance. Measure not just what people achieve, but how they achieve it. Third is your model of emotional balance. What kind of practices leaders practice for their calm and compassion during chaos, which creates a ripple effect across teams. And finally, reward ethical decisions. When organizations reward doing the right thing, even when it's hard, they nurture sustainable ethics. When women bring emotional intelligence to boardrooms, to teams, and startups, they transform the culture from competition to collaboration and from burnout to balance. Before I go any further, any perspectives, anything you would like to share, either under in the comments or whoever is watching this live? Anything would you like to share?
Yeah. I think it's very important what you are sharing. So often we, put sustainability in the box, like what is there outside the environment. But this emotional intelligence is, I think it's very important and getting present to in every areas of our life, like at home, at work, and also in the social circle. I think all those things are very important. So thank you for creating it.
Thank you so much. Sir, would you like to share something? I'm not sure what is your name, but yeah, still I'm asking. Busy with something else. Um, Again, as we come to almost to the end of the session, I want to leave you with this one thought which can leave you thinking, or maybe it's the truth, and you can take it up in whichever way you want and you are comfortable with. But still, again, it's just a food for thought, but different people will have different perspective, and I respect that. Sustainability doesn't begin with the planet. It begins with the person. It begins with you, with your choices, with your compassion, with your consciousness. Women leaders around the world are proving every day that strength and softness can coexist. That purpose and profit can align. And the future can be both powerful and peaceful. When you lead with emotional intelligence, you don't just manage change, you become the change. If this session inspired you, share it with another woman who's leading with their hearts. And let me know in the comments or in this live session, what does leading with purpose mean to you? If you would like to explore any of these kinds of topics or these kinds of programs, connect with us. And thank you so much for spending this time right here. Remember, always lead with heart, create with purpose, and stay emotionally intelligent. Any thoughts, any perspectives, any questions are open right now.
Thank you, Dharshani. Would you like to share an example from your own life? Because
Thank
I
you,
think you are
Shabana, for
also a
that.
women leader.
No, thank you for that. And again, yes, I have a couple of examples. Yes, I can. So maybe let me just take why what inspired or what brought me to the career which I am. And I think that's the relevant story which I can share it right here with all of you who's listening to this now or later. Is that uh, actually my journey of becoming a trainer or coach and even a TEDx speaker started with this one small idea of teaching or planning to teach life skills for the underprivileged children or the underprivileged segment. I just had few things in mind that I just want to teach something which is out of academics, but where they learn, like a real time skill set in managing things or in managing situations, how to manage different situations.
Hello, Darshini. Yeah, welcome back. I think our internet got one. So we missed the sentence you were sharing.
So, at the end of the day, what are we giving back to the society? Actually, that is one thing which hit me very hard that, today we are learning a lot of things online, offline, through college, through peers, through different people. But then at the end of the day, how are we able to manage our own emotions? Or do we know how to really manage our stress, our pressure, or how do we handle situations when it comes to emotions? Many a times, what happens, we start reacting. We don't want to listen to respond, or we don't want to listen to understand, but we just want to react. Actually, that is what caught me to this kind of a field and doing what I love. And I think seeing that smile on that the client's face or that individual's face is more than a paycheck moment. Yes. So that is what got me to where I am today and doing whatever I'm doing.
Awesome. And thank you for doing that. It's like, it's
Thank
really,
you.
we
See,
learn.
I think it's more than the monetary benefits. It's more of seeing that smile after the transformation which has happened.
Yeah.
So yes,
And I
it's
think that
nice
is
to see
also,
that smile.
yeah, that is also emotional intelligence. And I think there is a question in the chat box as well for you to
Uh,
address it.
how to handle greed and FOMO.
Mhm.
Hmm. Okay, sir, do you have any situation which led to that your fear, you're missing out on something? Is there any situation? Maybe you can give me yes or no answers in the chat window. Great. See, how to handle greed and FOMO. Okay, the fear of missing out if one is not aware about it. See, when does any kind of emotion like greed, FOMO, uh, this is my perspective. If Shabana ma'am, if you have anything, please do feel free to share it here. But my perspective is that, okay, let me tell you, maybe it's something, it's my understanding here. Why do we get greedy? Or why do we get an emotion like greed? It's because when somebody is doing well, well in their life, and where we are not able to reach that level, we feel greedy, right? Instead of that, shift that mindset to, okay, what he or she is doing better than what I do, or how are they being, so updated and doing certain things in that level. We all have a person whom we look up to as a mentor or as a coach, right? In different ways, we look up to that kind of a person. Instead of you, if it's your mentor or someone who other people handling it, how would they must have handled it? I feel many a times all these kinds of emotions or things, mindsets comes because of that. Maybe you feel that you're not updated enough to handle something. Maybe that. So, or next time, whenever these kinds of thoughts come into mind, just think as to what can I do better to come out of it in other way. Because see, see, if something is popping out as a question in your mind, it's because of a past incident which is coming because of that. Did I answer your questions to some extent? I think it's more of your, not only for you, for anyone, it's more of a mindset shift. Okay. Just try to, become aware of where is this thing popping up from. Shabana ma'am, would you like to add something here to the question?
Yeah, I think you very well covered the FOMO part, but also the greed part also. Like it's an emotion. Like we
True,
experience all those emotions, including
true,
anger, reactions,
true,
greed.
true,
So it will
true,
come, but just we know, like, getting angry beyond a point, it's like only going to harm you.
true,
So
true,
similarly, if we are like getting greedy, we every time means a little bit of greed of it could be having a chocolate, or I have a lot of excessive tea or coffee, like I have a
true.
greed of tea, that is fine. But if you continue without any control, then it's dangerous. It will going to affect us negatively. So I think everything has a consequences. So we need to practice moderation, and I think awareness is the key for anything, any problem. Like the more we get aware of, okay, we are feeling that, we are feeling greed, or we are feeling FOMO. So that is where we can catch hold of it, and we can address that. But if we are not aware, like okay, we are in that process or loop, then it is dangerous. Then we become the victim, or we become at the impact of it. So that's what I think. So
Great. So, with that being said, thank you everyone once again, and I will see you next Monday, or rather, even tomorrow for that matter.
yes,
Thank
yes,
you.
yes. Thank you, Darshini. Thank you so much.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you.